Friends, do you see these red candles? This panic that has gripped the market again? This is not a coincidence. This is another shameless game played by the whales to take your coins. While most people are shaking in fear because of global headlines, the smart money is quietly but aggressively loading up their wallets. Today, I'm going to reveal the secret charts that prove this manipulation. We'll talk about when the alt season is going to explode, and I'll give you a clear plan so you can actually profit from all of this. This video is your ticket to wealth. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let's uncover the truth. Friends, before we jump into the market review and the most promising altcoins, please note, this video is not financial advice. It reflects my personal view and market analysis. Always do your own research and invest wisely. Let's talk about what's really going on with this market. Why are we being played like hamsters? While crypto prices are dropping, if you check the FTSE 100, Hang Seng, or S&P 500, they're either flat or even moving up. Gold and the US stock market are hitting historic highs. That tells us one thing: the big money is not scared and is not expecting a crash. So why is crypto suddenly bleeding? Because this is pressure created by market makers. And don't forget about the overloaded futures market. Just over the past week, they've liquidated several $1 billion in long and short positions. That's a textbook liquidity grab, shaking out weak hands. But here's the key point: the institutions and major players are not leaving the market. They're not stopping. They're still buying coins, still pouring investment into crypto. They don't want to pay premium prices, so what do? They manipulate the market to keep prices low until they've accumulated enough. Even during this shaky period, Ethereum ETFs saw inflows of $3.3 billion, and BlackRock's ETH added over $600 million. That's clear evidence the biggest investment funds are buying while you're selling. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy are the perfect example. They now hold over 596,000 Bitcoin and are continuing to buy more, especially during dips, using a strict Bitcoin maxi strategy. That's how institutions accumulate. They don't panic. And look at what's happening with Solana and XRP. Giants like Franklin Templeton, Grayscale, 21 Shares, Bitwise, Fidelity, and BlackRock are all filing or preparing ETF applications. This signals massive institutional interest in top altcoins. They're not waiting for the hype, they're building it. And let's not forget how crypto cycles works in summer. Remember October 2024? Back then we had tension in the Middle East too. War rumors between Iran and Israel caused panic. But what happened next? Bitcoin exploded plus 84%, and altcoins like XRP and Hedera pumped 6.5 times and 8 times. Classic pattern. Fear is always the signal before a massive rally. And before we move on to the juiciest part of this video, I need to say one thing. Don't let the market makers shake you out. Once they're loaded up, they'll be the ones pushing prices straight up. All right, let's talk about the most exciting part. First up, M2 money supply. This is the fuel for the rocket. Remember when they told you M2 was nonsense and doesn't work anymore because it didn't predict a 9% Bitcoin pullback? Well, that was a lie. If you look at M2 on the weekly chart, you'll see global liquidity is still flowing into the system. Bitcoin always follows M2. Yes, there are short-term corrections, that's normal. But the macro trend for M2 is pointing straight up. And it looks like we could see new all-time highs as early as mid-summer, probably around August. That lines up perfectly with historical cycle patterns pointing to a real altcoin season starting in the fall. Now, let's talk about USDT, the capital magnet that connects M2 to crypto. How do these trillions of dollars from M2 enter the crypto market? Often, through stablecoins like USDT. The USDT market recently added over $10 billion in market cap. That's direct proof that liquidity from M2 is already in the crypto system, just waiting to flow into assets. Every time M2 rises, USDT follows, and then that capital flows into Bitcoin and altcoins. Now let's break down the current Bitcoin chart, because there are some key indicators flashing bright. The pennant pattern, a signal for breakout. Look at Bitcoin's chart. It's been sitting in a textbook pennant since April. That's a classic technical pattern that usually ends in an aggressive breakout to the upside. And if we get that breakout, we could witness insane short liquidations. There are over $25 billion in short positions stacked above the current price. That's not a bearish sign. That's rocket fuel for market makers. Once they decide to push the price up, those liquidations will trigger a massive short squeeze that could launch the price into orbit. Despite all the negativity, Bitcoin is already bouncing back. And for altcoins to move, Bitcoin needs to break through the $110,000 to $112,000 range with conviction. Remember what happened in November 2024 when Bitcoin broke key levels? Altcoins exploded. It's going to happen again. Now let's look at others' dominance and the descending wedge. Your timing key. This chart shows others' dominance versus Bitcoin dominance, and we're clearly inside a classic descending wedge, a bullish pattern that historically signals the beginning of alt seasons. The end of this wedge points directly to late August or early September. That's the exact timeline I'm personally watching for the start of the alt season. Friends, the crypto market doesn't move randomly. It's a cycle. We've seen it again and again. Post-halving, Bitcoin goes into an accumulation phase, then pumps, then the wild alt season begins. These cycles may stretch out over time, but they always end with an altcoin explosion. That's just market physics. We're forecasting the peak of this cycle around mid-2026. That gives us perfect timing for alt season. Despite all the negative headlines, the charts and on-chain data are screaming one message. We're standing at the edge of a massive bull move and an explosive alt season. Don't miss this opportunity. We've just walked through the market like true detectives. We exposed how the whales manipulate your fear, showed that global markets are holding steady, and revealed how the big players are buying billions while retail investors panic. We dove into the power of the M2 money supply, which is screaming about inevitable growth, and I gave you the secret date for the start of the alt season. So, what should you do? How can you not just survive, but actually get rich in this market? Act against emotion. Buy when there's fear. Remember, smart money doesn't play with emotions. When there's panic, they're buying. When there's euphoria, they're selling. Don't get caught in the market maker's game. These prices are your chance to enter while it's still cheap. Ethereum is in a strong accumulation phase, and altcoins like Sui or Solana that had healthy pullbacks. These are your golden tickets if you missed the early train. Focus on the long-term picture. Forget the noise on hourly charts. Zoom out to the weekly or monthly. You won't see panic there. You'll see a clear bullish trend. We're standing at the edge of a massive altcoin season, starting around August-September this year and likely running through mid-2026. This isn't about quick flips. It's a strategy that could make you millions. We're on the final stretch of this bull run. $25 billion in short positions are waiting to be liquidated. M2 is flooding in with trillions, and the whales are wrapping up their accumulation. Bitcoin will soon break $110,000 to $112,000, and then the market will explode. Don't let fear steal your millions. Act smart. Act now. That's it for today. As always, this is just my personal take on the market, not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more coin breakdowns. See you next time.